I'm Dan, and this is 10,000 Hours of Indie, a podcast exploring new music and delving deeper into what goes on in the background of the independent music industry. I'm a musician and passionate music lover, and I wanted to delve deeper into new music in the independent scene around the world. I also saw this as a chance to help artists connect and share their stories, so if there's someone you hear and you want to find out more about, every podcast has links in the show description. Get involved, help this community grow, follow on the 10,000 Hours of Indie socials, you can find all the links in the show description. And also feel free to email me about anything music related, 10,000indie@gmail.com. I'm open to any ideas and love listening to your promos. Arcadia are a five-piece New York-based indie rock band whose sound is a nod to the Strokes and a little to the Ramones. The band consists of Eamon Rush on vocals, Dylan Kelly and Gabriel Gonzalez on guitars, Henry McGrath on bass, and Brian Duke on drums. The band self-released their latest album, Everything's Fine, on October the 10th, and shockingly, the band play mostly happy tunes, which had me tapping my foot for all 37 and a bit minutes of it. Welcome to Henry and to Eamon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So finally a band that plays feel-good music. I don't think I've had one that the entire album's quite upbeat and happy before.
Yeah, interesting you say that. I mean, I agree, especially first song, and I guess the second song is a little bit darker, but I definitely think, the entirety of the album is uplifting, and it's called Everything's Fine. I mean, it was Henry's grandfather used to use that as a saying when everything wasn't fine, but it's kind of like in everything's going to be okay. Both it is and it isn't fine, but we can pretend like it is.
Some of you are childhood friends. Did you learn your instruments while growing up alongside each other? And that's sort of how things progressed into being a band?
Definitely. I quite literally learned my instruments alongside of Eamon. And one of our guitarists, Dylan, they taught me a lot of what I know about music, and they were into it before I was into it, and they sort of got me into it. Yeah, that literally was how I learned the instrument, was alongside my friends.
Mojo magazine has called you the sound of New York rising. How much encouragement do comments like that from mainstream media boost your morale as a band?
The person that wrote that, his name is David Frick, who's become a huge supporter. He also plays us a lot on his radio show. I think he's doing another Mojo review of this album that's going to come out soon. And he's this legendary album reviewer. He was the editor of Rolling Stone, music editor for a long time. When he started digging our tunes and being so encouraging of us, that definitely helped us, not focus on the streaming numbers or the likes of follower counts, but just kind of be self-assured that the music we're making is falling onto ears that do thoroughly enjoy it and understand what we're doing, and they're not just, our friends or our parents or girlfriends or something. It's people that actually know something and have been around the block, and they are with it and enjoying what we're doing. So that was a huge boost for us, just emotionally. As much as I'm sure we do get more followers and fans through that, the best thing it does is just incentivize us to keep going and keep believing in ourselves. So
your debut EP weeks ago was released in 2021, and this is already your second album just 4 years later. How have you found such momentum? You've constantly had releases coming out and everything already for 4 years.
We've just been spending a lot of time in the studio. Luckily, we kind of have a little studio in our basement, so we don't need to pay for rehearsal studios or even recording studios. We even record other bands there. And we just dedicate a lot of time to it. And we have a bunch more recorded music that isn't even out yet that we're going to be continuing to put out after this album. And I guess just keep going. We want to focus even more on the recorded side of things and experiment. Our progression has been much more experimenting, and the first few releases were very true to form in that kind of Strokes sense, like you mentioned, just 5 guys in a room. But now, as we progress, we're doing more layering, different instruments, maybe some more synths. And that kind of keeps us putting out new things because it keeps it exciting for us. Like we're not just doing the same thing over and over again, but each album kind of has a different vibe.
So the new album, Everything's Fine. Tell me about the album process. How long has it taken you from sort of start to finish? How have you written the songs together? That kind of thing.
Kind of a spread out recording process. I think it was done over 3 different sessions, which was different from our first album. Our first album, we kind of went into it with way more of a mindset of like, let's go, let's get in there and let's record this album together with this exact group of songs. And I think we sort of thought about, how the songs would be grouped together a lot less throughout this recording process, which itself was like 3 different ones.
The first one was even before we put out first album. We were back in the studio already. Actually, it was like kind of 4 different recording sessions plus just a lot of home layering, editing, tinkering. It's kind of hard to even pin down what's a session and what's just kind of like
it's a good point,
chilling. But I think Henry's right, and the main difference was that this was more spread out. Like I said, more experimentation. The first album we did pretty quickly because we had a lot of songs built up over our youth playing music, and then also we wanted to put an album out, so we just kind of recorded them all in one session and then put them out. Where this one, we were more taking our time.
So how about the process? Do you take some lyrics to the band and you work from there, or does it come from a riff or a little bit of everything?
Some of the times, the things that are more lyric first aren't super lyric first. That would more be like we have a song and then I have a bunch of lyrics that then we kind of fit to the song. But from song to song, it depends. Like some of them I wrote pretty much start to finish. Other ones were completely organic. Where I always write the lyrics, but I couldn't even play them on, I don't know what key some of them are in, and then other ones I wrote like every single instrument for. So it really depends from song to song.
Are you somebody who carries a big notebook around with, or nowadays a phone full of lyrics that you can just put to things?
Yeah, I mean, kind of, I have a notes section, and now I've also spent some time like organizing it because it's kind of like one huge document of like random lyrics. Some of them will be like one word, some of them will be more fleshed out whole ideas, and you never really know when you'll be inspired, so you kind of always have to have your antenna out, looking around. Some periods of my life I feel particularly inspired, others I don't, but you always have to try to get back to that place. But then I've been taking some time to comb through the huge notes section and sort them like, oh, these are just one line ideas that are just, maybe you read that on a billboard or something. And then these are like full thought out verses. And then maybe these are like things I could be repeating, like more of a repeating chorus ideas. So then I think makes it easier to kind of be like, okay, well, I need a chorus. Maybe I'll look to that note section, and then I need a verse instead of just kind of like randomly combing through everything at the spot.
How about the favorite track from the album?
I mean, I think we both like connected.
Yeah, that's mine right now. I think with me, that stuff always changes. Like it'll probably be a different one next month, but I'm loving Connected right now. Yeah.
I think we like it also. It's like a pretty far departure from what we did before. It has that parlor piano type of thing, and then the violin solo by our friend August, and my girlfriend and her close friend Lucy, who's in a band of hers named May Queen, is on it. Funny that you say like, oh, it's a happy album, which it is, but I guess it didn't occur to me that so many other albums are kind of default sad.
I think music's kind of a reflection of society a lot of the time, though, isn't it? So there's bound to be a lot of quite angsty stuff coming out of the US right now.
I mean, I definitely feel that. And again, a lot of these songs were written a little while ago at this point. Sometimes I feel like, oh, if it's such an angsty time, maybe the world needs more of like an uplifting thing, an everything's fine moment, even if it's not, I guess that was the greater idea of the album. Yeah. But I definitely connected out of all of them. I can see being that like hyper happy type of vibes.
Yeah.
But I just think it just sounds like something that I don't really hear very often. Happy, like emotion aside, just the general textures of the song.
The album artwork really stands out for me. It's very bright and vibrant. And, a lot of people are going for black and white and quite dark album covers at the moment. Who's responsible for your album art?
So I made that album art. I'm a pretty shitty drawer, but yeah, I've gotten okay with Photoshop and stuff. So I just took a bunch of public domain old images and collaged them together in a way that I thought looked cool. And I just like bright blue. I always like, and our first album cover was also kind of vibrant, and it kind of gives me like a Sergeant Pepper's type of vibe with the cutout thing. And then it is like the five people walking in black and white, walking through the snow into the colorfulness is supposed to be that kind of like yin and yang type of like through the dark into the light story that I think everything's fine supposed to represent, even in times when it's not fine, everything eventually will be. That's kind of how the album art and the title of the album and the songs on the album kind of all play into each other. Like, I think even the way maybe it would have made more sense to switch them, but I would say our first song is the most overtly happy, connected thing. And then the second song is probably the darkest song. So it's playing with that light and dark right next to each other.
I regularly deep dive into each band I talk to's internet presence. And it led me to a video of your appearance on the Lip Service pod where you took your own ginger drink on the show.
Yeah, I wish that we were in person or else we would have served you up some. We've had intense phases of ginger juicing because that was such a big batch. I mean, you saw it. Usually you get the ginger and it's like...
Yeah, it was about a liter or something.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a huge... So at some point, the machine exploded because apparently we were using just like a normal juicer, but technically you're supposed to use like a cold press juicer for ginger. I don't know how that really... I'm not a huge juicer buff, so I don't know the difference too well. I think the cold press is slower and the normal one is more of like a fast rotating blade. So anyway, like halfway through the juicing, the machine exploded and it cut Brian's hand. There's blood everywhere, and just a big like so then we haven't actually... That I honestly might have been the last juicing we've done. Somebody gifted me another better juicer, so we have to use that again. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it's like when we go into our health modes, when we want to quit drinking for a little bit, then we start pouring the ginger and it gives that burn in the throat. But right now we're not in one of our health modes, so.
Your video for Don't Mean Much was filmed on a rooftop. I assume that's in Brooklyn somewhere.
That's Brian's rooftop.
Did you have to get permission to do that?
No, I mean, that was the big plus of doing it on Brian's rooftop. Even though it was quite small, it was we just kind of went up there. I mean, we have played a lot of shows on roofs and in parks and churches. I don't know if you probably might have seen some of those.
We're coming to the church one. We're coming to that.
Oh, yeah. So we do regularly. We have a whole setup, mobile kind of PA rig that we're ready to set up a real live show at any moment's notice. But for the purposes of that video, we weren't actually playing the song live, if you couldn't tell. So that was just kind of a optics thing. It wasn't even that loud, so we didn't need to get too much permission.
Having seen it a couple of years ago when it came out, there was a certain sort of juxtaposition of that with the Beatles rooftop thing going on. Did that inspire you to do it?
Totally. If you look back, it's very overt because like we're all wearing the same clothes more or less as the Beatles.
I was thinking that, but yeah.
That's why I'm wearing a fur coat when it must have been 95 degrees out. But luckily, I was afraid that half of the scenes when we started, I would look fine, and then the ones like the close-up shots to cut in were like towards the end of the day, and I would just be like completely different looking person with all the sweat. But I think we actually did most of the close-ups earlier, so it worked out. I like the Beatles, but they're so kind of like everywhere. You like learn their songs in school, and I was always just a little more into the Stones because I thought it was like more rebellious, and I liked punk too, which has a similar, mind frame. But then I was never a Beatles hater, but when I watched that 9 hour long documentary, then I think like that year the Beatles became the number one streamed thing on my Spotify. And like I'd already known all the songs, but just kind of appreciating them more, I guess. I think Connected kind of has that Lady Madonna, Paul McCartney type of vibe, and then Don't Mean Much has just like some Beatles elements, and then Follow Through and Wake Up Sleep has the open D Keith Richards tuning and is off the click and stuff. So yeah, we're trying to definitely get some inspiration from that late 60s, early 70s classic rock. Not moving away, but adding to like the kind of early 2000s Strokes thing or the Ramones thing.
I have to ask, have you got in any trouble for your logo? For anyone who doesn't know the band, the logo is basically the Pan Am logo, isn't it?
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, I guess we're not big enough yet, but that'll be the sign of success when somebody does actually come after us. I mean, maybe the fact that Pan Am doesn't exist anymore, though somebody still owns the logo and still sells, the biggest part of their business is selling merch. I heard that recently some airline has like leased out the logo and is going to try to like revive the brand in some way. I'm not sure if that will be worse for us. We'll see. Hopefully it'll just be a cease and desist and we'll just go on and make another logo. But for now, it works quite well.
Or maybe you just offer to do a jingle for them or something and you get around it that way.
Yeah, maybe they'll be cool. I don't see what the harm is besides the merch is, for all intents and purposes, just a knockoff of their stuff.
Yeah.
So on to live shows. There's a video which you mentioned briefly earlier on YouTube of you playing St. Joseph's Church in September last year. Is it actually still a church or is it just an event space now?
It's neither. It was a church, but then when we discovered it, I forgot, it was just kind of like meeting some guy on the street who had access to it. It was like completely abandoned. There's also like 6 stories of school and stuff up on top of the building that was just all completely abandoned for years. So it was very eerie, but also very cool. They're turning it into a bathhouse, like a spa. So they were about to just gut the whole thing, and this developer that I guess Brian met on the street or overhearing him talk about and sparked up a conversation just said that we could do a show there. Luckily there was power, but besides that there was like nothing, so we had to bring in all the lights, all the equipment. But then everybody kept asking us, "Oh, what is this space? Can we use it?" And we said, like, "I'm sorry, but it's not an event space. It's literally just like an abandoned building." The developers didn't want to keep using because they were getting noise complaints and stuff. So
no, it looked pretty cool, and it looks like you have a great time on stage as well.
Yeah, it was a good community building activity, and we put in a lot of work because we put everything together. We discovered it a few days before putting on the show, so we got everything together very quickly.
It's probably like 2 to 3 days for the whole thing.
There's quite a few live videos available on YouTube of the band, and you do seem to be a very intense live band. Maybe that's the way to put it. If you had to pick between only playing live and only recording, which would you pick?
It's an interesting question. I don't know. What Eamon was saying before rings true. It's, right now, I think we're entering a phase of being more into the recording process and sort of like leaning into that. But I don't know if I could say we would choose that. We love playing live shows, and I always have so much fun doing that. So I'm not sure if I could speak for all of us on one to choose.
I mean, I do think as much as I love playing live shows, that probably recording is just kind of like the reason to get into music for me. I would still say when you really make a new track, that kind of feeling, there's nothing quite like that if you believe in it. Like Henry said, I think now that we released the album that just came out, played a few shows, have a few more lined up that we're going to announce soon, but in general, we've had times of intense live performances, like many times a week, on a tour, and then also practicing many times a week if there's like a big show. It starts to feel not as spontaneous and not as creative when you're just kind of like playing the same songs over, just trying to make sure that you're going to give the best live performance possible, but you also don't want to not give the best live performance possible.
You did a double header for your album release, and I can't see any other shows listed. Have you got more stuff planned?
We do, but we need to wait on the promoter to tell us when it's okay to talk about it. We were going to do a few shows in between now and the next big one, but we want to keep trying to promote the album in ways like this, online, digitally, and then just focus on what the next step's going to be sonically, and then just kind of have this big show that's going to be announced soon, be kind of like where everybody comes if they want to hear us live. Hopefully one day we can get out to Europe, because we've been getting, actually some dude in England just emailed us like yesterday or something, being like, when are you guys coming? You guys are my favorite. And I've been seeing in England our streams have been steadily increasing. Nice. Yeah, but we got to figure out a way to get over there, and maybe Helsinki too.
The final question, what music are you guys listening to that probably haven't been heard of or are a lesser known band that people should be listening to?
I've almost been like trying my hardest to listen to more popular stuff, just to kind of get a read on the current music taste, because for so long I like only listened to music from like the early 70s and stuff. I was just listening, this isn't a small band at all, but that new Balu Brigada album I was listening to, the new Geese album.
There's a new Dune Blue album. That's another cool band based out of Brooklyn, and it's a good album too.
That's definitely a good one. I went to Cambodia in August, and I was listening to a lot of their Khmer psychedelia music from the 60s and 70s, which is pretty cool. And unfortunately, most of them got killed in a genocide because it was like illegal to make rock music all of a sudden. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's cool music. And then this band Dengue Fever kind of revitalized it in the early 2000s. So they like kind of made people more aware of it.
There's like there's an artist I discovered sort of recently called, and I think they're doing pretty well too. This isn't like I don't think they're that not well known, but they're called Alien Boy. It's like a rock band from, I believe, Seattle. And they have a cool sound, but I've just sort of discovered them, but I was liking them the other week.
So for anyone wishing to find out more about the band, your website is panarcadiamusic.com, and you're on Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp, YouTube, and TikTok.
Yep.
Do you take TikTok seriously or not?
I take it seriously in the sense that everybody saying, oh, TikTok's the way, but it seems like a lot of the bands that have songs that blow up on TikTok, it's like kind of random. It's not like it's because of TikTok they do. It's more just like a influencer uses their song. But we have some very nice people that run our social medias free of charge, and they are more involved in our TikTok. I run the Instagram more or less, but TikTok I don't really. I was trying to post stuff, and I think I have to rethink like what it might mean, if it means anything at all, because I think it's like the ones that are the lowest effort seem to do the best. I think they just want to see raw, natural, hanging out behind the scenes type of footage on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Everything's Fine by Pan Arcadia is available now on all streaming platforms and via the band's Bandcamp page. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.